I got sober at 25. So
Crazy.
yeah. So it's been a long time, like it seems for me. Like, you know, because by the time you see people in the program, they're old, you know, and they have whatever, 20 years. And I'm thinking I'm going to be, you know, like by the time I'm 50, I'll already have 25.
Yeah.
And I don't think 50 is that old.
25 years old is young to get sober.
Yeah. I just like from what I was doing, you know, it brought me to my knees. Like it was 2015 when I had gone to treatment in California. And so I did the whole rehab and I was out there for 3 months. And it was kind of like my decision, but also through with my parents' decision. Because at the time I was 21 and that's really young. I thought like to be sober. I even had thoughts of, you know, this is forever, right? Like without even learning like the one day at a time aspect.
This show is sponsored by Open Recovery Addiction Help. Whether you're newly sober, in long-term sobriety, or even maybe looking to make a change in your life, Open Recovery offers 24/7 support right from your phone. It's anonymous and packed with tools to help you stay connected, stay accountable, and build the life you deserve. Download the Open Recovery Addiction Help app today and take the next step in your recovery journey.
I was like thinking of when I get married, or I can't toast and drink alcohol like at my own wedding. That thought like kind of like was very daunting to me. So yeah, needless to say, I didn't get it then. I did not at all get it. In fact, the opposite happened. So I learned almost how to be a better drug addict through going to treatment. Right? Like how criminals go into jail and they come out with the masters in crime, right? Like I came out of there, oh, you did it this way? Oh, you should have been doing it this way. Like, oh, wow, you wasted it doing it this way. Like, you know, we were just swapping stories because like how else were we to pass the time? We're all in there. Like, so yeah. So then it wasn't until 3 years later that I kind of got it. I learned a lot going to treatment. That helped. Like I didn't get nothing out of it, right? But it was almost like I had unfinished business or whatever you want to call it. Like one last like kind of run before I like came to my senses and like, yeah.
It's crazy because my first meeting, I want to say or the first time I was introduced to sobriety was probably 2010.
Okay.
I didn't get sober completely, ultimately, until 2018. So it was, let's call it 8 years in and out. That first meeting, I had no idea at the time. And, you know, let's call it in 2008 or let's say 2015. I'm like, oh, well, going to meetings in 2010 was a waste of time. And it actually wasn't.
Okay.
I may have learned different tricks of the trade like you were talking about by going to treatment facilities and meeting these people and gaining knowledge. But it planted a seed. Because every time I was going out from 2010 to 2018, using drugs, drinking, I always knew that there was a better way. It gave me a little bit of hope. And that hope grew every year a little more. And then until finally 2018, I had all the hope to actually cross that line and pull the trigger.
Right. So our years are the same. Like you're just February, mine's November. So like that's kind of cool. Like 2018 was a big year for us.
Yeah. You're coming up on 7 years.
7 years in November.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. And so like I was mentioning before, my sobriety date is my actual birthday. So November 24th. So I share, like it's just obviously can't forget the sobriety date, but yeah, as another age that I grow, I also then am another year sober.
25 must have been a birthday for you. Day one sober?
Well, so where I was I was in France at the time, and I was over visiting my younger sister. She was studying abroad. So I was in the south of France in Aix-en-Provence. And
I love it over there.
It's beautiful.
I know.
It was really nice. Like, I'll definitely go back with
It's my favorite place in the world to be, south of France. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, a lot of people like Paris or whatever. Like, no, the people are way different in the south of France. I met some people that wouldn't even go to Paris, like native of Aix-en-Provence. And they're like, yeah, no, this is it. So, we were there. And it was around Thanksgiving, as my birthday falls on. And we were just celebrating and drinking and whatnot. And then it came to be my birthday, November 24th. And I got up that morning and I felt different. Like, I just felt, right? It's my birthday. I'm in this new country. I'm 25, right? Like, let's just pray that my frontal lobe is fully developed at that point. And I decided to go on this hike. And this mountain is called Mount Saint Victoire. It's like 3,500 feet or something in elevation. And I didn't have a cell phone. I only like looked up the bus schedule. So, and obviously I don't speak the language. And I set out and I was like, I'm going to hike this mountain. And I'm alone. No one came with me. So I went, and sure enough, I looked at the map like prior to heading out on this journey. And I didn't understand it. Like, I saw the picture, of course, but I did not understand, didn't have a phone to translate, whatever. And so I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to go up this way and then hike down the other way. Well, it turns out that I went the hardest way you could have gone. Like, and when in hindsight, I gotten back, people are like, oh no, like you should have gone down the other way, like not this way. But sure enough, that's just like me and like my life and how things go. It's just like, if it's the hardest way, like I'm going to do it. So
unbeknownst to you.
Yeah. Right. So I'm going. And it is, I beforehand didn't look up how far it was. And I'm hiking, crawling. There were some points when I was literally on my hands and knees because the slope the grade was so high. And I finally get to the top, right? And I get to the top and it's this actual steeple with this cross. And the view was incredible. Just like, I'm getting chills, like the city below, and the weather was beautiful. And I was just taking this deep breath, and I couldn't stop repeating, like, look at this, like over and over and over again. And I just had this revelation of like, you know what? Like, this is it. This is it. Like, I'm going to stay sober for me, for anyone I can help. And I just like felt it, you know, when you like reach a PR or like do something in life and, you know, you just have that elated feeling, you know, your endorphins, everything is just
outer body experience.
Yeah. Firing for you. You're not aware of your body. You're just like, oh my God, just, yeah, out of body. And sure enough, like that was what did it for me, was that like moment, that profound moment that, that I just like felt. It was so weird. It was almost like I was told, this is it for you. Like you're meant for better things, like destined for greatness, for better than this. So please, like, stay on this track. And that was it. And
I heard it.
I felt it. So I came back down, and the back down was just as hard as the way up. So it was like this double hike. And that was it.
Do you believe in God?
So I'm really spiritual. And going through the program, right, and working the steps, there's a religious aspect to it. And I'm a super open-minded person, right? Like I could be talking to the nastiest person, whatever. I'll listen to them, right? I'll let them let them on their way. but I'm open-minded for anything. So when I was going through the steps, I was trying to let that in and just be super open to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never felt like super connected to whatever it may be, this figure, person, whatever it may be, like who created all this. I don't know. I'm a very logical person. I like science. So I don't know, like I'm in the middle. So the short answer is maybe no.
It sounds like energy is a big thing for you.
Yeah.
Especially when you were in France and you hiked that mountain, you felt all of that energy, the endorphins, the outer body experience. Like that's spiritual. And like, for me, I had a spiritual awakening when I got sober. And a lot of the things you're talking about, a lot of people are like, well, what is a spiritual awakening? How do I know when it occurs? Or is it ever going to occur or whatever? But like, you just have this feeling where you start doing all of this work on yourself and you start making changes that are necessary in your life and you're not even questioning them or why you're doing them or whatever.
Right.
And your big change, obviously, that was the first day you got sober. And you know, with me, it took time. It took a little more time, but I look back and I was like, holy cow, I was all the way down at the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah.
And now I'm here.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
I mean, listen, especially with sobriety, addiction, recovery, there's a stigma around God and it's religion and it doesn't have to be that.
Right.
Which is the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah. And I mean, it can, right? Like you're saying, like it can be whatever you want it to be. But yeah, if I'm like energy, like you're saying, if I'm not feeling something, like I'm not going to pretend that I do. Like through being like an addict and like we're addicted, at least I'll speak for myself. Like I'm addicted to feeling good. Right? Like now in my sobriety, like I want to make sure like I'm feeling good all the time. So if something like doesn't feel good, I'll take it or leave it. Like I'm not gonna pursue something that I don't get something out of. I don't know.
Yeah, you take it head on. You're very straightforward and direct. And no, that is so helpful for like your solution and how you approach things. It could have been so perfect for me because I like to complicate the shit out of everything.
Okay.
I look at way too much detail.
Okay.
That's why it took you 2 times to get sober. It took me 20, 25 times to get sober.
Right.
Because like I would always either try to beat the system or overthink the system and like, well, maybe I had a spiritual awakening. Maybe I didn't. If I do the steps, is this a resentment? Is it not a resentment? Because we know addicts and alcoholics, resentments are, we have to get rid of them, right? If we're going to stay sober long term.
Yeah.
I overthink everything and I look at way too much detail and I pay way too much to detail and then I overthink it for 3 days. And you know, so that in my case, it's detrimental to my sobriety. And in your case, that sounds like that's a tool.
Yeah. Like I feel like I've always like trusted myself. Like even when it was a bad decision, like I'm like, this is what I'm doing. Right. And I'm going to commit to this and stick with it and kind of like through trial and error, if it's working, I'll work it, right? It works if you work it, like positive or negative. And then if it sucks, I'll pivot and do something else. But I'm never in something torn. And if I am, I decide and I like jump. But it does take me a little bit to get to that decision. It's not that I'm impulsive, but when I decide to jump, like I'm all in. Like, right, as probably you can relate, it's like all or nothing. Like we're addicts, full blown. Like I'm gonna do something. I'm not just gonna kind of do it, right? Like I'm gonna full on do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I come to that, I'm in.
Oh, dude, I'm so indecisive. I will jump this way. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, I'm going to come in here. I'll jump that way. I'm all over the place.
Even now?
Now it's much better. I now have a system that I've put in place, tools that I put in place that help me go through that. You said it takes you a little bit to get to that decision. Yeah. I give it time now.
Okay, yeah.
I used to impulsively jump there. That's the decision. That is the decision I'm making. And then I'm like, wait a minute, did I make the wrong decision? Then I'm jumping back that way.
Yeah.
You know, I do that in my dating life as well. So,
okay.
No.
Yeah.
But so why don't we take a step back? I want to know more about what was early childhood like for you?
So I have two sisters. I have an older sister, younger sister. So I'm in the middle. I grew up pretty normally. My parents are still together. I was actually, interestingly enough, I was a fat kid and I didn't really do sports. I tried them. My parents like forced me to, like as every parent does. And nothing really stuck. Maybe baseball, but like, cause there wasn't a lot of running involved. But yeah, anything else, like not for me. Yeah. So I didn't really like have that like camaraderie with my peers, right? Like whatever sport that they were into, didn't really have that. So at 8th grade, I decided I want to go away to school. I don't want to go the traditional route and go to this public school, which was good at the time, where my sisters ended up going. But so I decided through like, you know, my parents' help, of course, I went to boarding school. So like a college preparatory school, like exactly how college is. Like I was there, you know, all 4 years. And I'm like 14 years old and I get there and you're required to do a sport. And I'm not athletic. I'm like still kind of chubs like at the time. And so I'm like, well, I don't know what rowing is. I don't know what this crew thing's all about. How hard could that be? Well, like I quickly found out it's like one of the hardest sports like ever. But the silver lining of doing crew was everyone came in at ground level. So, right, like kids came in good at soccer, right? Lacrosse, baseball. No one was really good at the freshman level at crew. So we all learned equally. And so I learned quickly and then like got good at it. And so because of crew, like I was able to get in better shape and like kind of like catapult this like athletic lifestyle. So like when I'm a freshman, I'm introduced to all these kids like taking ADD meds. Like, right? Ritalin, Adderall, Vyvanse, like
at 14,
Strattera, like all of it, Concerta, you name it, yes. And how it worked was there were day students and boarders. And day students, right, as it sounds, they come from home, and boarders, right, you're there. So if you were on meds, and you're a boarder, you got it from the nurse there. But if you were a day student, you were on meds, you brought it from your house. So I knew these kids that were on it, and I was like, you have to let me try it. I have to know, right? Mm-hmm. Just like the nature of who I am. And at the time, it was a Concerta 54 milligram. I don't know if you're familiar.
Oh, yeah.
But it's methylphenidate. Mm-hmm. It's exact extended release Ritalin. Mm-hmm. And 54, the little barrels, brown barrels, they're the highest milligram that they make, right? Like you obviously wouldn't put a child on it to begin with, right? So someone gave one to me. And then when I took it, I was like, this is how I want to feel forever. I felt so good. My thoughts were so quiet. I was able to get work done. I was so productive and it worked. I mean, it worked. So that's kind of like what catapulted me into all this, was this like taste early on of, oh, you were taking this? Oh, you got it from a doctor? that must be fine. So like it was off to the races once that happened.
Were you struggling with your weight when you were a freshman at boarding school?
So I was for half the year. So I came in and we worked out. We had group practice 6 days a week. We had classes 6 days a week. We had class on Saturdays. Wednesday was a half day because everyone did games, right? There are games between other schools. Crew, you have regattas, so they're far and few between. So and then instead of having a game, we had just like an extended practice. We had a 6-hour practice on both Wednesday and Saturday. So the work that we were doing during just the fall semester was drastic. And I had never experienced this ever in my life. So I quickly like shed the weight very fast. And by the time the end of spring semester, right, end of the year, I was like unrecognizable. Like truthfully, like if someone had seen me, even when I came home on breaks and I saw kids from my hometown, they didn't recognize me. Like it was like, yeah.
When you took that first pill, were you still kind of struggling with the weight or no?
Yeah, like I wasn't now, like how I am.
Yeah. So basically what I'm asking, what I want to ask is that pill, did it make those voices go away of like, maybe I'm overweight or
oh my God,
not feeling a part of because of the weight?
Everything, like everything, negative self-talk, right? Like everything, it just disappeared.
And the confidence went through the roof. Right? Like you felt exactly where you should be, who you should have been. Everything was perfect, right? You look at a table, a chair, and you're like, it just feels where it should be, right? It everything was right. And I'm on the highest dose at the time, I had no tolerance. And it was like, wow, that sparkler kind of like light. And everything improved. I mean, everything. I did better in school. I did better in sports. Relationships were better, like everything. Even at 14, like I was like, Jesus Christ. Like the confidence to talk to any girl you wanted.
Everything. Yeah.
Was it an all boys school or?
It was co-ed.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah. So okay. So it stands true. You were able to talk to any girl you wanted. So you take this first pill. What happens from there?
So, right. Like then I just being as we are, like these like conniving, right? Secretive, like people that addicts are, it was like, all right, my mission now, I'm going to get this. I am going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to be sure that I'm prescribed this. So I then spent the rest of the semester and into the next testing and getting the diagnosis of ADHD, whatever you want to call it, to get prescribed this. I went through like rigorous tests. Like it wasn't just like a doctor that you could go to today and you said like, I can't focus and they write you a prescription. I and my parents had me tested basically, or I did these cognitive tests and like almost like IQ tests, like day after day after day. And then this psychologist, right, rather than a psychiatrist, would then give me the diagnosis and that would be that. I made sure that I got the desired outcome through these tests, right? Like I could have done the tests correctly. I sometimes incorrectly answered. I sometimes said like, it's enough today. I can't go on, whatever. Yeah. So sure enough, I got it. And I got prescribed Vyvanse. And I'm so grateful today, actually, that I got that rather than any other med. I don't know if you've ever taken Vyvanse.
Yeah, I have.
The best.
Yeah.
It's the best. Adderall is a blend of amphetamine salts. And Vyvanse is a pro-drug. And it's all one drug. Like it's all...
It's a clean drug, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to say that with the pharmaceuticals saying another pharmaceutical isn't, but yes, it's a cleaner drug than Adderall.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, dextroamphetamine. It's like the best.
Yep.
Where like Adderall is a blend and like almost like cut.
Yep.
Yeah. So you feel that like edgy feeling. I felt very smooth and just like as I like wanted to feel through these pills. So yeah. So then he puts me on 30 milligrams, the orange and white pills. And right, like I had already looked up and I'm like, all right, so the top of it is 70 milligrams, right? I have room to grow. So even after weeks, like couple weeks, I would go to the psychiatrist and I'm like, it's not working. It was working. And I was like, I need more. So then he like bumped me up to 40, right? And I did the same thing. And then like 50 and so on till I was literally capped out at 70.
You made 70.
Made 70. That was like my mission, the blue and orange ones. And then I was like, no, it doesn't work. It was working. Where do we go from here? And he said, well, we can put you on a short release Adderall for the nighttime, which, right, that doesn't make fucking sense. Like,
yeah,
you know, like give you more stimulants for later in the day. Like, you know, sure, some people, I guess, you know, might need it, but I definitely did not. So I got that. So I was then taking Vyvanse and Adderall, and I was like, I think I got as high as just 20 milligrams of the short release. But so I'm prescribed this every day. And yeah, like life is just, I mean, so exciting. Like it's so exciting, right? You're on freaking amphetamines. It's like the best, you know?
You're 14, 15 years old.
Yeah. At this time I'm 15 years old. So yeah.
Holy shit. And then now you're on all these amphetamines. You're just cruising through high school at boarding school.
Grades are going up. I'm making like high honor roll. Like things are good.
Cut your weight too. Like it cut you up.
Yep. Yeah, I'm killing it in crew. I'm like in the top boats. I'm doing really well. I'm like, yeah, I'm strong. I mean, it's like not to completely glorify it, but my God, does that stuff work? Like, oh my goodness.
There's always a consequence. So let's go
come back down. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's bring it back around. All right. So you go through high school. Are you dabbling with any other drugs during this time?
Yeah.
Are you drinking? Like what does that look like?
So throughout all this, I'm always doing drugs or drinking because I'm happy. Like I never felt really compelled. Like I feel like shit. I don't feel so great. I'm going to feel better by drinking or drugging.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was always that person that like you'd want to be with. Oh, Chris is here. Yay. He arrived. Like I feel better now. Now the fun is going to start. Like I was that person. I wanted to give that to people. Like I just felt just always in a great mood. And like, what could make it better? Like these things, right? So when I was in high school, I would, right, then school year would end and the summers, I would drink and do pretty much every drug. Like by the time I was 15, I had already done like, you know, Coke, MDMA, Xanax was huge. That was like what really got me.
Yeah.
And then drinking. Drinking was always a constant. But it was never it was just there also. It wasn't like, it was the drugs mainly.
Yeah. I mean, essentially your drug of choice is amphetamines, right?
Well, so if someone were to ask, right, like in a program, like, oh, what's your drug of choice? Mine is Coke, amphetamines, and Benzos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're dabbling.
Uppers and downers is what I loved.
That's speedballing, man.
And speedballs was the thing too.
That shit will give you a heart attack like right there on the spot.
Yeah, right.
It's so dangerous. I used to do it too. It is so dangerous.
So dangerous.
So you go on. Do you end up graduating high school?
I do.
Okay. Yeah. On time. You're good?
Yep.
Grades are doing well.
What I guess like one of the first things that I had kind of this like spiritual experience was just who I am, right? Like as we are, like I was not like conforming to the rules of the school initially, like right off the bat. So I had trouble my freshman year, and I ended up actually getting kicked out. And they said, you can come back under certain conditions. Condition A was go on an hour bound and do like 40 or 50 hours of community service and like go to therapy or something like that. And I don't know if you've ever been an hour bound, but like that was also life-changing. I went out to Colorado and it was a backpack event, like through the mountains hiking. We did like a solo experience, you know, where you're like left in the woods alone to kind of like survive. And I'm 14 at the time. So that was like super spiritual. And yeah, that kind of like shaped me for like being mentally strong, like having this like mental fortitude for the rest of life. So I did it. So they admitted me back. So then I then the summer shaved my head, worked out that entire summer. And I like came back my sophomore year, truly like unrecognizable to even then my peers at school. I was super fit, looked like I just got out of like the military. And yeah, so then I was able to finish the rest of my time there like perfectly and on time. Yeah. And it works. Like they knew that what they were doing. So it worked.
During your time in high school, did your parents ever question you using maybe an excessive amount of Vyvanse and Adderall?
Short answer is no. I'm sure they knew something, but right, like I'm at this school, this like renowned school. I'm working with these doctors. Hello, right? A doctor is like prescribing it. They know what they're talking about. So, right, you're like fully entrusting in the professionals to, you know, decide what it is with their child that, you know, that they're doing the best for them.
Yeah.
So no, like I don't think anything, you know, and I came home for breaks and I was great. Like I was fine. You know, I didn't like, it wasn't until later that it was like, you know, like self-sabotaging behavior that it was like a burning fire dumpster, you know?
Yeah. So you graduate high school. What do you do next?
So I go on to college and
where'd you go?
I went to Rollins College, you know, outside Orlando. And I was joining the crew team. So I was on the crew team initially. I joined a fraternity. I had a girlfriend at the time and I was pre-med. So all these things, right? And it was a lot less rules than high school, like than boarding school. I didn't have class on Saturdays, of course. And just, you know, no one to report to really. So I had a lot to juggle. Like I was like, oh my God. But me being me, like, right? Like I was like, I can do it. Like, it's fine. Like I can do anything, you know? And I'm on the, you know, Vyvanse still, of course. Yeah. So I can do everything, you know, like give me more things to do. Like I want them. I don't have enough to do. So yeah. So then things started to decline relatively, I guess, quickly, where I had to drop the crew team because for a number of reasons, but just mainly because I couldn't.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. I had to switch majors. I loved chemistry, but I couldn't like handle that anymore. But like socially, I thought that was a very important aspect to my college career. So I like really stuck with and pursued the fraternity. And looking back on it, right?
And the girlfriend.
And the girlfriend, yeah. But looking
the two most important things, right? The girlfriend and the fraternity.
Yeah, that now that like is not. I mean, the fraternity, thank goodness, because some of those guys.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm still very close with, and thank goodness. But right, like yes, in hindsight, my person and who I am today, like would have said, like, yo, do the opposite, like do the other two.
Yep.
And you know, whatever. But so yeah, so meeting these fraternity brothers, like, you know, you want to like impress them, you want to like have fun. So it was exactly the experience that you'd expect, you know. But so then, right, I'm really on my own, and I then have to see a Florida psychiatrist to prescribe me my continued Vyvanse.
Mm-hmm.
But while I'm there, I'm like, okay, Operation Benzos. So I'm seated in front of him, and I'm like, I'm anxious all the time, which to some degree was true, and still sort of is. But obviously, I just deal with it now. But then he, and right, like if you've been in therapy and obviously must have been to a psychiatrist, if you tell them kind of like what works and what doesn't, they're like, oh, great, like trial and error, like this makes my job easier.
Mm-hmm.
So I told them that which was true, like I'd taken virtually all of them, and Klonopin worked the best for me. And just like the half-life of Klonopin versus like Xanax, like it felt better because it lasted a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
So sure enough, like I got prescribed, and he started me off on 2 milligrams of Klonopin, which like in hindsight is kind of a lot. Being that I had a tolerance just from recreationally doing it, but not any, So then,
dude, if I took a 2 milligram Klonopin, I'd be on the fucking floor for like 20 hours.
Yeah. And I had friends that were like, oh, I can't take Benzos. Like I'll pass out. I'll go to sleep.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, like, I guess just like my brain chemistry, whatever, like I take them and I just like, I'm like, this must be how you feel. Like I feel so smooth. Which is what I thought. Like obviously that like scene in The Wolf of Wall Street when he thinks, right? And he gets to his car. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what it probably ended up happening. But I felt so good. Like I just was like, oh my God. Everything melted away. Mm-hmm. So the combination between like stimulants and the downers together, right? Like 1 and 1 does not equal 2. Like the synergistic effect of it. Like it like, wow. I felt great. And then of course you add alcohol into there. Like it just really intensifies benzos. So that was like my like starter pack, that was like just what I did to feel normal. And and I'm like, tinkering with it, like in the levels of it, to feel however which way I want to. But so then my psychiatrist and we became like pretty good friends, like legitimately.
That's not good.
He was a bro. Like he had this great office, really great guy, like really professional.
In his 30s?
He must have been at the time.
Yeah,
like
young.
30s or like at least like early 40s.
Yeah.
Like just super young, but like crushing it seemed.
Yeah.
Like he had like people in and out. Like my appointment, someone's coming out. Like someone came in after me.
Yep.
Like he was, practicing, like legitimately, but he's a drug dealer with a license. Like, let's be real.
Of course.
So I got this, and then that sort of like put me on this trajectory of almost, rather than using my own brain chemistry and like emotions, I like used like external, like extrinsic factors to feel a certain way. Like, oh, I want to feel like this. I'll take this. I want to feel like this. I want to take this. Rather than being like, wow, no, you know what? I should really like process this. Mm-hmm. Like that didn't happen. So
essentially you stunted your growth when it came to emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's like probably like hitting the nail on the head. Like I had been in therapy, right? Like since I was 14 years old, and we like talked about these things, and I was very like introspective and, but not really. No. And if something came up really, I just kind of, pushed it down, like regressed, whatever. And similarly is like being that people pleaser, I just kind of like said what I thought people wanted to hear at the time. So like if someone said to me, whatever, like, how does that make you feel? Whatever. I'm like, well, you're the person you are. So you definitely want to hear it this way. So that's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah.
So from that was 18 to 21. 21 was your first treatment.
Yeah.
Stint.
Yeah.
What did it look like and how did things progress from 18 to 21?
Yeah. It got bad like quickly. So I'm doing everything with my friends. I mean, I had a friend for this thing, I had a friend for that thing, meaning like this friend liked to do heroin, so I only hung out with him for this. This friend liked whatever else, like whippets, so I'll hang out with him for that. And everything in between, right? So I then up until that point, like had done it all and just thinking that I was like spinning plates, right? Like I can still maintain school, girlfriend, fraternity, and be fine. And well, you know, that wasn't the case. And actually, it was my junior year. Like I hadn't even started basically. And I was like brought to my knees. And the reason being was I was like, you know what? A lot had happened, but I was like, I'm gonna get off these benzos. Like I know this is like crippling. Because up until that point, I was probably eating 100 or so bars a week, like 2 milligram Xanaxes at that point.
God.
And I was just like getting them, but like I also have my Klonopin prescription, but I have, you know, and I'm full blown, of course, like stop them and you'll have a seizure, like into it. So I was like, I always had this like little voice in the back of my head of like, you know, this is like bad. Because obviously like health and fitness were sort of a constant in my life. And I had like kept up appearances and still, you know, ate well and like worked out. Our fraternity was very big on lifting. So from the outside, I thought like I looked okay. So I was like, you know what, I should probably stop these. And this is before treatment. So what I did was I was able to wean myself off of these, all of the Xanax, but only the Klonopin. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm amazing. Then I took the Klonopin because I was prescribed, I think I might have glossed over this. I was prescribed 3 2 milligram a day. So I was like 90 a month.
So wait, you were prescribed 6 milligrams of Klonopin a day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
So I was, I weaned myself off as you would a schedule. I was like, all right, that's 6. Let's go to 5.5. Let's go to 5 and so on and so forth. And I got down, I think, to 1. But I'm still getting the rest of them. I'm not telling anyone. I'm not telling my doctor, hey, by the way, I'm now taking 1 when I was taking 3 before. So I'm like hoarding these, right? As like what we do. So it ends up being winter break of junior year. And I'm home, right? I'm home. I'm from New Jersey. I'm back in New Jersey. And I have nothing to do, right? Like I'm on break. I earned this. So I'm smoking weed. And I thought, well, I have all these Klonopins. A lot. Like, I mean, a lot. So I'm going to just start eating them. So I would wake up and I would sometimes just take 5 of them just to wake up. And then the day would progress. And then I would take more. And then I would take more. And then I would, you know, so on and so forth. So my parents saw what was going on. And I would get in fights. I was like also drinking. So like, obviously that made it way worse. And there was like one pivotal moment that it was one morning and I was like eating breakfast and I took this really nice Port Marion plate with all my breakfast, eggs, whatever, and just smashed it across the room against the wall. And that was so out of character. Like I'd never done anything like that, but I was just so gone and messed up that like, rather than reacting, my parents were just like, something's wrong. He needs help. And my mom, like really grateful for her, she immediately found like the best treatment center for me. And I'm so grateful, like truly, that they like love and care for me as much as they do. So I immediately just decided, I was like, I can't go back to school. I need help. So they booked it immediately, and I flew out like almost, I want to say like the next day.
So before we go into your treatment experience, you kind of glossed over this. You said you had a friend for heroin, a friend for this.
Yeah.
The jump to heroin is a significant jump.
Yeah. So how it happened, right?
Yeah. Can you walk us through the first time you did heroin?
Yeah, sure. So, so I get this friend, and he, in my mind, I thought of him as the opiate friend. And so he, to me, said one day, you know, I'm going to DeLand, Florida. I don't know if you're familiar. It's like one of the like the pill capitals of like the world, or the US at least. And he goes, I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, we do Dilaudid. And I was like, great. Like I'd only ever done like Perks and Vicodin and like maybe an Oxy, you know, whatever, and only had eaten them. So he's like, oh yeah, we're going to do Dilaudid. It's Dilly's. And I was like, well, okay, you know, like count me in. So we go, and just my friend group in of itself, everyone is smart. Everyone has a nice car. No one is your traditional like addict. So we get to his friend's house, who again, it's a nice place. And on the table are spoons, lighters, and needles. And I'm to that point, I'm like, oh, I've never done that. And his friend and my friend, who I trusted, and today he's sober actually, you know, so he's a great guy. He was like, don't worry about it. Like, we'll prepare everything for you. You don't have to do anything. And I'm like, great. Because again, I have this constant like benzo pumping in my bloodstream always. So I like don't really say no to anything. So they prepare everything, right? They like crush the 8 milligram Dilaudid, the triangles. They like prepare it through the cotton, like draw it up. And they took like a literal necktie, right? Tied me off. And they were like, it's just like going to the doctor's office. Like, it's no big deal. And right, just like as my veins are, like they're super apparent, like very easy. And so they did it. They hit me, you know, red means go. They pulled back, aspirated, and shot it in. And it was the most euphoric feeling that I had ever felt. I mean, I stood up and I like opened my hand like over and over and over again. And it was just this, I mean, you know, right? Like just this rush, this extreme hot rush. I like stood up, opened the door to it was like a condo apartment, and I threw up. I completely yacked, threw up. And as you know, from like, if you don't eat anything, right? You don't eat pills, your body can't get rid of it. It can't expel it from vomit. So there was no getting out of that. Like I was in. And I don't know, from me being like on whatever, like I was okay. And I then sat down, and I mean, I was on that pink cloud. And that to me was like, right? Like I had experienced these things, but there was like this new layer that I hadn't really like touched really. Like Perks were like Skittles, you know, like Tic Tacs, like Tylenol even. Like that's how the level of those are. This intravenous Dilaudid, I want this. So as they were at the time, this is probably like 2014, they're $40. At least that's what I was getting them for, right? I think they were 20, but like the people we asked They're like, I'm going to buy one for myself. So I'm going to charge him double. Mm-hmm. So, right. So they became expensive. So I was like a college kid. Like I was like, I can't keep doing this. So my friend, right, we keep going back to the same friend's house. And every time we went back there, more and more shit was missing from his apartment. His TV was gone. His bed at one point was gone. His car was gone. And he started turning into this traditional addict. So we and my friend were like, we need to get away from him. Like, I think he's no more like, which obviously in hindsight, he probably needed the most help. But it became, he was really my first glimpse into like, this is what happens if you keep going on this path. But instead of sticking around, right, we got the heck out of there. So we left. And my friend goes, all right, well, now we can't get the Dilaudids. Like, he was our only connect.
He sold everything.
So like, I only know how to get heroin. And it's much cheaper. And I was like, how cheap? Right? And he's like, $10 a bag. I'm like, $10? We could buy 4 bags for that price. Right? And he's like, and you don't have to use as much. And I was like, perfect, great. Count me in. So initially, we didn't have the needles. So he was like, we'll just snort it. So we would just prepare it and then like do lines. And that was pretty good. And obviously from doing like oxys, like, you know, it's good, like up your nose. Like, it's pretty good if you eat them. Like, pills are meant to be eaten. But it wasn't the same. It wasn't that. It wasn't it. And then it quickly, like, 1 bag, right, turned into 2 and so on and so forth. And it was like, this is not working. We have to get the needles. So we would make trips to Walmart and we would get the insulin syringes saying that we needed them for whatever bullshit.
Diabetic.
Yeah.
I'm a diabetic. I'm
diabetic.
Yeah.
Give me the, 31 gauge.
They have
like,
to give them to you, yeah.
Let's go. And it was always a problem, whatever. We didn't have gas to get there. We didn't, whatever. We couldn't afford the freaking $5 bag of them, like whatever. So it was always a problem. And it was like never this like perfect like storm of I have everything in front of me, of course. But when we did, we hit it. Like we hit it. We've been in the car and we like tied off using the seatbelt and we were like doing that. And so one day we find this new friend. Just 1 second. We find this one friend. And he goes, oh, wait, I have this really good Coke too. Have you guys ever shot Coke? And I'm like, I didn't know you could do that. And he's like, oh, yeah. It's way better. So I'm like, all right. Like similarly, like, you know, I'd like to think of myself like I'm not a dumb person, but if you're doing it and you're alive and you're okay, like
I'm doing
it too. You know, you did it first. So let me do it and be fine. So what he would do is he would mix the bag of heroin, right? Like it was like flakes. Like it wasn't even that much. Same thing with the Coke. Like it was flakes. And luckily we're in Florida. It's super high quality. Like it was like beautiful, like very flaky, like pearlescent, like very nice. Mm-hmm. And we would mix it in the same bag and water and like mix it around. And if it's good Coke, right, like it'll turn completely like clear, like no residue left. And we would draw it up as we would. And that feeling, the speedball combination of that was it. That was the nail in the coffin.
That unlocked the next level.
Yep. That was it. And I mean, anyone listening, like intravenous anything, like will ruin your life. Like, because it's so good that you will sell your soul, like to just feel that. Right.
Yeah.
So
you will die instantly.
Yeah.
I think it is very important to say that to the listener or the viewer.
Yeah.
Intravenous, well, any drug use, it's very important that every single time you're doing it. This is also during a time where fentanyl wasn't really a thing either.
No.
So that's also another thing that not saying it is safe, it is good. No.
Yeah.
It is, you can die at any moment from any drug.
Yeah.
And you're increasing the chances significantly when you're shooting it. So it is very important to say that.
Yeah. And me saying I get even like off telling it. So like I'm up here right now, even like coming back down, like absolutely like the dumbest thing you can do. Like it is so dangerous. I would reuse needles. It was blunt, dull. I'm like track marks, like couldn't like find a vein. Like, it's so bad. So bad.
Dude, I get the same way. You're telling the story and I'm over here like getting excited.
Right?
Like you were looking at one another like, oh my God. Because I can relate to the feeling. But I think the most powerful thing is you're able to verbalize that and walk us through what you felt, because there is someone out there who's listening to this right now who felt those exact same feelings. And you are coming up on 7 years sober and clean.
Yeah.
So that means that person that is struggling, or maybe a month sober or 6 months, and they're thinking about going back out, that can relate to those feelings you just talked about, also now know that it is possible to stay clean and sober for 7 years.
It's absolutely possible. And this is better than anything I've ever felt in my life. Truly. Yeah. I really mean that. Yeah.
So let's go back to 21 years old. Your parents send you away to this treatment facility. It's your first treatment facility. What was that experience like?
So it was in California. And just as people are in California, right? It's just like at the time, like I didn't really spend much time out there. Very progressive, right? Like people are just whatever, like have your opinion on like people from, but I had never really experienced those kind of people. So everyone was kind of like ahead of this like health kick than the East Coast is like at least how I felt. So these people are like, oh yeah, like this is my whatever time and like I do this, whatever. So everyone was very like welcoming, like super nice, super calm.
Pause 1 second. So to the listeners too, for listeners in California, progressive, like meaning like also welcoming and open-minded in the most loving way. I love it. I love it. And you're saying it in a positive manner. So just so I wanted to clarify that.
Oh yeah. Like I felt this like love that I had.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
Really. And again, like just to reiterate, like they knew more things about health that I hadn't really like learned just from like the people I'd grown up with or like East Coasters. So yeah. So that like I get there and I'm like, of course, like I'm fucked up. Like I had gone in, that plane ride even messed up. And I had gotten there, it was nighttime. They did my intake and it was kind of blurry and it's still like, I don't remember a ton of it, but all I remember is like getting then to my room, passing out and waking up. And I'm like in the hills of California, like overlooking this place. And I'm like, wow, like this is a cool place to get sober. Like sweet. Like, I think I can do this. So they come to my room the next morning, kind of like welcome me. And they were like, this is how we do things. This is the schedule, whatnot. You're allowed candy and cigarettes. Do you want either? Right? Like I had an account or like money that they had under my name and they would go to the pharmacy or convenience store and get these things. Cause obviously, in like your early stages, like you need something to cling to. So I was like, I want both of those things. I want Big League Chew and 3 packs of Marlboro Red 100s. Just like, I don't even like cigarettes for like a constant, but I wasn't like really thing. But I was like, which is going to get me through this time?
Yeah.
So give me 60 cigarettes, the big boys, and here we go.
Let's go. Ripping cigs and
Ripping
rehab.
cigs. So I just then became a character, like in this, like what felt like a movie. I was, going through it. Your day is scheduled, like from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, meals, whatever. So, and we would go to then AA meetings, like sometimes multiple times a day, but at least once a day. And that was kind of like my first introduction to the program. Mm-hmm. And obviously then I'm with people that are 50, all ages, all stages, newcomers. And they're like, yeah. And they're teaching me these ways and like, oh, you'll love it. Like, just make sure you sit up in the front or like, share. And okay. And I remember someone said that I got there and I was very like anxious like this. And he said by like week 2, I was like calm and like, yeah, like this is not so bad. And yeah, so just being around that like positive atmosphere and going to AA meetings in like Calabasas, California was like a sweet deal. Like I was like, wow, like everyone is just so loving and welcoming and everyone's really experienced doing this and I have a lot to learn. So I like felt very good that what I was doing was like the right thing that I needed to be doing at the time. So yeah, it just was like perfect for the time.
How long were you in there for?
Well, it's funny. Like after like the first month, I was like, get me out. Like, okay, I'm done. I learned everything. I know everything. Heck no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They always do that too.
Oh yeah. I was like, I need to get on with my life. I thought like being in there, I was like wasting time. So I like called my parents. I'm like, I'm ready to come home. And thankfully, they were like, no, you just got there. Like you need to be in there. You need to stay longer. So I ended up staying. They told me I could have stayed for a year. Told me I like all cool, like insurance like would have helped. You can stay for a year. But I only ended up staying for 4 months, which I say only because in the grand scheme, right? Like as much time as we have, like that's not very much.
Yeah.
But early on, I was like, 2 days was a long time. So
yeah, of course.
4 months to me felt like adequate. And like I did at the end felt very good. Mm-hmm. Those 4 months, like working the program, like going through the steps and just being around almost like a sober live. Because there were tiers to the facility. When you first went in, you were like watched like a hawk. And then you earned your freedom at like you got more privileges as like time and like good behavior that you demonstrated. So by the end, right? Like I'm basically in a sober living and I can like go, people can have their own cars and I can go places. We just have to like, report into the moderators, like this is where I'm going. So we ended up going to like Disney, Universal, and I'm with these people, these also sober people. And that was the first experience that I had that was like, we're like each other. I'm not alone in this. You're also sober and you understand the feelings I'm feeling. And this is cool. And I want to spend more time with you guys because of the positive impact that you have on me currently. And that was cool. Like, because I at parties was always like, oh yeah, everyone's getting it just as fucked up as I am. And obviously that's not the case. So I felt alone. These people knew exactly. I didn't have to explain myself. We were in group. You would share and everyone is just like, props and praises. Yeah. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So it was a really, really positive experience. And I felt good leaving.
Yeah.
So that was 2015.
It was funny. Like when I first came into the program, like I had a lot of shame and guilt. I stole jewelry from my mom. And like, that's a very alone feeling. And, not many can relate to that. But then you go into the rooms and into sobriety or whatever.
Yeah.
And you share that. Everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like people can relate to the destruction, the madness, the shame, the guilt. there is no end. You're not going home at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You're staying out for days.
Mhm.
There is no end to the party. It's just, it keeps going.
Right.
It's never enough.
Yeah.
And those people can relate to that.
1,000%.
And you feel like you're home. You're part of.
Right. Of like a distant family that you didn't know existed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after 4 months, you go back to Jersey, you go back to college. Where do you go from there?
So I then have plans to, so just before I say that, it's like it's summer basically. So I spent a lot of time on the East Coast for summer, and I just have this job. Like I'm a lifeguard. So at this like cool country club, I'm like, sweet, this is awesome. And I'm sober, right? And I'm now not working a program. And I don't really I have these people that I just met, to call. But I don't feel good. I just almost like this high of this place, right? Then was ripped out and now I'm alone. And I don't have the support system, like physically in front of me. So I struggled. I did not get it. And I thought that like the California sober, like I was like, weed was never a problem. I'm going to just smoke weed. Okay. I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm going to keep it a secret, but I'm going to smoke weed. And then I would like see my parents and my family, and they like, obviously like, they know everything, but I thought they didn't know everything. So they're like congratulating me on like when like a new month turned, and I like didn't feel good because I like felt like I was lying and like I was like truly not sober. So I was like, yeah, great. Like, thanks guys. But it was a lie.
Yeah.
So I stumbled like all summer. Like I just like really didn't get it. And I wanted to, like, right? Like we all want to do well. I wanted to, but like that saboteur, like inside your head, like festers and grows and, and just plays tricks on you. So I didn't get it. And right, people, places, and things that we should avoid. I went back to school because I needed to finish. And same sort of thing. I was not in the right place. Like I was back in that environment that I had like done all this destructive behavior. And I chose to be in a single dorm, like with no roommates even. Because I was like, this is what I need. Like I need to be away from my fraternity brothers. Like I don't want to. But as it was geographically, like I was across campus entirely. So even to see my friends, like I had to travel a bit, like make the effort. So some days I'm like, I'm not going to go. But I'm alone and no one's around. So again, that like using and just that like self-talk was just like the most negative, like almost like to date up until that point, because of how this like tremendous guilt of you just learned all these things in treatment and now you're undoing them, right? It was like this newfound guilt, which I guess is part of the process. But I felt this like extreme turmoil and I just felt really bad. And like I previously said, like that wasn't me like in using. Like I was like, I always feel good. Like there was never like bad times with this. So I thought. And so I just like, I fell right back into it. I like picked up right where I left off, if not harder. All the things I learned in treatment, boom, I'm back. So yeah. So the longest I ever had was like 4 months up until that point. And as anyone like listening, watching, like those beginning stages is like when you have to hit meetings every day.
Yeah.
When you have to like call your sponsor all the time, you have to like create that support system. And I understand like not everyone has someone to reach out to and like call during all of this, but you can always go to a meeting anywhere really. Like, right. Like the internet, obviously just look up a place, go there, sit in the front, share. There's always someone. And I didn't do that. I didn't.
It's crazy. I had a very similar experience as you. Well, many times.
Yeah.
But one of the most important things you just said is, you do have to go to those meetings. You do have to call your sponsor. You do have to, implement all of these tools in order to stay sober. And it's crazy because you were out of the thick. 4 months is great. You were in a controlled environment, but then you kind of got the rights then to leave when you were in the sober living, bridging back to real life and reality. Implementing those things long-term sounds like a lot and it sounds overwhelming. And I was the king of getting sober for a few months and then I get a few things back and like, I had to set little goals and keep it within the day and implement that even for my first year of sobriety. Because that was when I was successful at actually getting sober. But all the other times I would be like, well, no, I don't need to do this today or call my sponsor today or reach out to the alcoholic or addict who is still suffering to help them, to see what they need help with, and give back. It was, and I'd get like a couple things, like you got your freedom back a little bit here there. You probably started looking good. Yeah. You're in the gym looking good and you're healthy and I don't have a problem. Like I can handle this. And then you start justifying. I mean, listen, there are different methods to getting sober and clean. There isn't one way. Right. People stay just California sober for the rest of their life and live a good life. That's for them. Right. I don't do that. I can't do that. But it starts to look good once I start taking away those tools day by day because it becomes too much. And I can't, I can't keep this up long term or I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's so daunting. Like the almost the no end in sight is so scary. Yeah. And the one day at a time thing is so real. Like you have to I'm going to stay sober today. I don't know about tomorrow, but I'll keep saying that. So tomorrow will never come. And so I will always just continue to show up for myself because I have to. I literally have to. I truly don't want to die, right? So I love being here. So I have to do this. I have to wake up every day and put on like my armor. Yep. Like I have to win the day early on. I have to then say my mantras, my like whatever I need to do to win the day or else. And I don't want to know what that or else is. Yeah. And so, it's one day at a time.
So you ultimately end up getting sober at 25. When you go back to school, you fall back into bad habits. Can you just walk us through the progression up until 25? And then did you go away again at 25?
Yeah, no. So
it was in France. Right.
Yeah. So it was like from 21 after treatment in 2015, my girlfriend at the time, right? Like she's great and she's great. Like, she's married and now and has a great life. But she was, as the person she was caring and we would say like enabling. She didn't know, like she was just being herself. And
she loved you and was just trying to help.
Just trying to help. So as I got this idea of, maybe I do want to get sober and like, maybe I do want to get help. It was funny. This is my testimony. Like if I don't know that she'd ever see this, but like, this is my take on it. And like, I haven't ever talked about this is once I almost felt like I didn't need her as much. We kind of grew apart. Like that role that she kind of just assumed, this caregiver, she's extremely good at caregiving. And I didn't need that as much because I was like making these healthier decisions. We grew apart. And we came to the mutual agreement, it seemed, to be no more and to break up. And we had been with each other for like 6 years, like 6.5 years. And so that was 2018. So then from 3 more years, from 2015 to 18, that's like kind of what was happening of like, I was like stumbling but then I would get it. I would like take a step forward, take 2 steps back. And then once the breakup happened, you know, like just as any breakup, I was not okay. I wasn't. And I thought to myself, this is a pivotal moment. I could either go this way or this way. This way being right where I just came from, or I could really turn myself around and like commit to this. So that's like when that France trip happened, was I went on that trip. And that's kind of like when I had this revelation of like, this is the path that I want. Like, I want to do this and prove it to whomever, or like whatever. Ultimately, right? Like, it is for myself. You know, if I can help people along the way, awesome. But we need to do these things for our own and ourselves. So I completely turned my life around 180. I got back. I became vegan. I started eating differently. I was still working out, being healthy, but I thought, hey, if I can like put something in front of using and kind of preoccupy myself, I think I'm going to stay sober. So I then almost obsessed over my diet. And I was like researching, like looking up recipes, like what can I eat? How do I get enough protein? Like all in this like vegan diet, vegan and gluten-free diet. And I thought, because like I was like at that point, okay, I'm not going to cheat on my diet. So my using has to get through that to then use. So if I stay on this vegan path, this will definitely happen. I will definitely stay sober if I just like focus all my energy on my diet. And it works. It really works. I felt different, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Like I was eating clean, however you want to call it. I was a different person because of the things I was like putting in my body. And even now I'm like very into like, right, like health and fitness and what goes in my body. And I just felt different. So I was like thinking different thoughts. I was like meeting new people that I might not have wanted to talk to. And I just felt better and better each day. And I would go to bed, right? Wake up as the same person, not loaded. And I would just, I have to, what can I eat today? Mm-hmm. What are these things that are make me feel good? Because I'm addicted to feeling good. And I went that route and it worked. It worked. And I went to meetings all the while. But something about having that armor in front of my sobriety really helped me. So like if anyone listening like is struggling with, you know, getting sober and staying sober, mm-hmm. if they can make this sort of like drastic change for their health, right? And because if you, again, people, places, and things, if you consume the same things, food, your cells literally will be the same as you were when you were using. You're like, oh, I always eat this. I change it up sometimes, but molecularly, like you're still the same person. Mm. So if you kind of just dive into nutrition and like, how can I feel good from this and almost use it as medicine, you will get it. Like you will get it. Mm. And 10 out of 10, like recommend, not at that extreme, like everyone's different and that's up to them, but making that switch. And I get it. People are like, well, I don't even have the motivation to do that. I don't know where to start. Just A, start. And B, it's your own path. However you want to do it is the correct way. Just one more day, for your sobriety? Dive in to your health.
It makes a lot of sense, like the makeup of the body, right? You're changing essentially who you are through what you are, what you eat. But you're also too, you're just like, you're redoing all these patterns in your life.
Yeah. And I felt that to my core.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I need to basically undo what it is, right? Like I love this example. If you're down this meandering path, ski slope in the trees, in mogul type, and you're like, don't hit the tree, right? You're going to focus on not hitting the tree.
Right.
So if rather you tell yourself, stay on the path, you then won't be focused so much on what it is you don't want to do and what it is you and where you want to go just happens. And rather than just dwelling on these things, I just was staying on the path. And I was just able to help myself through making this change.
Yeah. So the 3 pillars, spiritual, mental, physical. I feel like the eating is like physical with the working out you were doing and the exercising. And it could go into mental as well because it changes your mindset. It makes you happier, sharper. Yeah. If you're eating clean, you're able to hold clear thoughts. It's like you're almost on fucking Adderall as it is, right?
Yeah.
What other things were you doing? I mean, we talked about the spiritual awakening you had. What else did you do mentally? Were you going to meetings? Were you like jumping into sobriety, building a community, a sober community?
So I went to meetings and I did, but I didn't go to as many as I should have. And I just say that, right? Like it worked, like I stayed sober, but I highly recommend going to as many meetings as you can because they work. Like it works if you work it. Like 1,000%, right? Like similar to that experience in California was with all these people. You're just around like-minded people. Like it's gonna help. So do that, like always go, right? Like connect to as many people, like do mundane tasks and like boring tasks, but with your sober friends is cool. Yeah. You know, like you're sharing real emotions. You're like talking about real stuff. It's not like that surface level. And just like sitting with that like uncomfortability is like great. And like even this is not something I would have normally agreed to. But like through my sobriety, like when you had asked me, I was like, yes, you know what? This is good for me. Like this is good, right? Like something that makes you feel uncomfortable, like I'm in for it. Like, right? Like if it's not harming anyone or myself, like I think is good for you, like good for growth. So I just say like to always just find stuff that is like kind of lame, but like is fulfilling and you can share with other people. Yeah. Is so huge.
Oh, 100%. When I think about a podcast on sobriety or, 100%, it's like, meh, but the power of someone listening to it. Day one, when I started this podcast, I said, no, like I'm not going to chase monetization on YouTube, monetization on Spotify. My goal is just to help one person. Yeah. It has been beyond my wildest dreams and my growth personally in sobriety, who I've become. It's like night and day since day one. Yeah. And the power of helping someone and just always saying yes and showing up.
Exactly. Yeah.
I couldn't show up. Yeah. Or I would show up and I'd be nodding off.
Right.
I wasn't present.
Right.
We talked a little bit about, and this was huge for me in my sobriety, my emotions, like yours, were just completely stunted at a young age. I think my emotions stopped growing at like 15 when we could say earlier than that. But from a drug perspective, the way I used to deal with feelings, picking up a drug or a drink, starting at 14, 15 years old. Yeah. What do you do today to deal with emotion and how were you able to adapt to that?
Yeah. So my thing, right, is health and fitness. Like whatever, like you feel about that, like however people listening like feel about that, it is so my thing. Like like, that's me. When people say like, what do you like to do for fun? Well, I like to work out. If I feel sad, I like to work out. If I don't feel good, I like to run. Truthfully. And then, oh, what else do you like to do? No, like that's basically it. Like I like to do other things, yes. But like I am so all in to that. Like, yeah. Are you able to like edit like a picture up on the screen?
Yeah, you want me to like show a picture of you like your shirt off or something?
Yeah, because because they gotta know. Like this is not just like some side hobby.
No,
like,
dude,
you know?
dude, you're in great shape. Like you are a trainer at the gym that I go to.
Yeah,
and you have made it your life, and it's fascinating. It really is.
Yeah.
It's there are healthy outlets to deal with emotion.
Yeah.
And you have found one of those healthy outlets. And, you know, I go through situations today where it kicks up some emotion I haven't felt in a very long time. And out of fear, or I'll go into automatic resentment towards that person. Like that's an unhealthy way to deal with an emotion. And I'll do some crazy shit because of fear or resentment.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Right.
You work through it. I mean, people write, people like to journal, people like to meditate, people like to go do yoga, the spa, paint, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If they're an artist, a singer, they'll go sing or play the banjo somewhere.
Yeah.
You like to work out and eat healthy and eat clean and it makes you feel good.
So good. Like to my core, like genuinely. I because that constant again throughout this whole story is crew to begin with, then appearances through whatever. I've always had that just kind of fall back on. And now, right, like that's why you do see like sober people like do marathons, high rocks, like CrossFit, like it works. Like it feels chemically, right? Like your brain literally is releasing those same chemicals that we wanted them to release when we were using. So, hello, like, you know, all I have to do is like work out and then I like feel as good sometimes. Like, yes, like count me in. So, yeah. And it's like this mental, like this battle against like myself versus myself and like being better than yesterday. You know, I don't listen to music when I work out. I don't listen to music when I run.
Really?
No, I do not.
It's
like,
a meditation then.
It's extreme meditation for me. It's like so serene.
Dude, what goes on in the head? I got to know. Because there's usually fights. If I don't have music, there's like a fight going on in my head about this and that. And like, how do you tell it?
Like I feel just like, I've gotten to this point where I have felt like if I can't do this, I'm going to do it. And if it's difficult, I'm going to do it. And so I think almost like the idea, right? Like I have this like ideal version of myself or like who I want to be and like aspire to. I think like this person that works out with no headphones, even this like meta like aspect to it of like, it makes myself stronger in doing so. Like if you go out and run 20 miles with no headphones, like you will see some shit, you will learn some shit all about you. And that to me is like so valuable. Like where can you get that? And only through this like pain cave of like you versus you, your thoughts. Nowhere else are you finding such a profound, serene, sober activity.
Sounds like you're not afraid to look at yourself either.
It's taken a long time. I never used to turn the lights on even in the bathroom when I brushed my teeth. It took a long time to get to this. And it's just being comfortable in my own skin of like, this is who I am. And I love you genuinely because I love myself. I walk around to people and I am an innocent until proven guilty person. I love you until you prove to me that you're a shitty person. right? Like I want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I like want to spread this. I want to give it away, right? Like when your cup is filled, you want to give it away. And that's kind of like how in my sobriety, like that I've learned is like, right? Like to save yourself, you have to, yes, put your oxygen mask on first, but you need to then help someone else and put theirs on. I just want to help. And I like want to, I wish everyone felt this way. Like I truly, even people who aren't struggling with addiction, like I want people to feel good like I do day to day. And I guarantee you people, oh, there's no way he really feels like that. He's being fake. He's a phony. I promise you, like I feel this good every day. I have a good support system now. But you know, it took a long time to feel and to get to this point. And it's years, it's reps. Just like the gym, you have to like put in the work. And eventually, you know, I still have more room to grow. Like I have more to go. And how cool. Like what a privilege that I have even more to learn at this stage in my sobriety. I feel so joyous. That's why every person, every stage and age that people are in their sobriety, that's so great. Just wait. You know, you're in for a ride. And it's ups and it's downs. You know, sometimes it's awful. Sideways, which way, doesn't matter. But if it's not okay in the end, it's not the end.
Yeah.
It'll be okay. Like truthfully. So it's been a long time coming, and I really love myself today, truthfully. And yeah, it was, and obviously I'm not perfect. Like there's some days where like shit's hard and like something happens and I feel awful, but I have this, you know, as you know, Kevin, like this almost like to your core, like I have this thing. And that's why like when you meet someone and like you help someone and they're going through this thing, you're like, oh my gosh, you have this light too. It's the greatest feeling ever.
Alcoholics and addicts. It's funny. You were talking about earlier, you and your friends driving to that dude's house to get the Dilaudid the first time. And you're like, we all have nice cars. Like we all come from like good families and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's almost like profiling a drug addict, right? I always thought a drug addict was someone living under the bridge and the overpass, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the disease of addiction and alcoholism doesn't discriminate. It doesn't. And, you know, we come from all different walks of life. We aren't bad people.
No, I don't. I mean, this is kind of controversial, I guess. I don't think people like are inherently bad at all.
No.
You're only really taught these things. So,
well, like you found yourself again. You found that good, that innocent, you know, when you were a child. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful process. People do that in recovery. And I've done it. Like it's an amazing, you can tell when someone has that glow and you have that glow.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Really quick. Tell us where you're at now. You're married?
I'm married. So then it's crazy story. In 2020, I got with my now wife. She is the best friend of my younger sister. I have known her since she was 11 and I was 15. We're 4 years apart. So she had always been in my life. And it wasn't until 2020, just based on my previous relationship, her previous relationship, that we were able to then be together. But we always loved each other, truly. And 2020 rolled around as the crazy year that it was. It was the December of 2020. And just happenstance of our schedules. She was out at school at the time, finishing up. And yeah, she then was available. And I called her and I was like, you need to come out here. Like, you need to come be with me. And sure enough, she came out. And that day, we started dating. That day. And flash forward, now today, 5 years later, she has 4 years sobriety.
What?
Yeah. She is 4 years sober.
No way.
And I had 2 years of sobriety at the time when we were together.
Yeah.
She's an alcoholic, she would say. Like her mom was, alcohol was her thing.
Yeah.
She comes to me and I basically give her the keys of the kingdom as much as I know. And I like help her and I like take her under my wing and I teach her everything. And through being with each other, it's been the best ride of my life. And I'm so grateful for her. I love her so much.
Wow.
And we keep each other accountable. We really bounce off each other and like help each other tremendously.
Yeah.
And I owe like a lot, like almost everything of my like now 4 years that I've spent sober with her to her. Like I really do. She'd say the same thing about me. But yeah, like it's amazing to then do it with someone and someone you love and that I've known for so long. So, we bought a house together.
It's beautiful, man. Congrats.
Thank you. Life has just gotten so much better since getting sober. It is truthfully the greatest thing I've ever done in my entire life. It is exactly what they say. You get in what you get out what you put in. 1,000%, right? Like the relationships you build, the people you meet, the things you'll do, the emotions that you get to feel, everything just improves when you get out of your own way. Like it's not easy, like we were saying, but it can be simple. The formula is simple, right? Just get out of your own way and stay that way. And then once you're there, once you like set this up, it's like you are your own business or something. And you have to manage yourself and you're the CEO of yourself. You're like, if I just like don't fuck this up, like this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
And the possibilities are endless. So truthfully, I'm so looking forward to like what's in store for my future, but I could have never imagined my life to feel this way.
Yeah.
And it's a feeling because I get to feel emotions. And how cool. And those are like my superpower at this point. I'm not, blunting them or suppressing them.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Like they're there for a reason. Like they're there to like help us navigate our life in the way we were intended to.
Yeah.
So
it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
I want to congratulate you on coming up on 7 years of sobriety. And
thank you, Kevin.
Your story is going to help so many people. And I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for having me. Seriously. Like this was such a privilege.
Yeah, man. Of course. Thanks for coming on.